Ladies and gentlemen, we are live once again. This is your somewhat savvy political host, Abby Kaufman, talking to you from our secret, undisclosed location on Newport Harbor, Newport Beach, California. And it's Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026. And I was just curious, did anybody by any chance watch Donald Trump or see if it was real? Did he actually dare to, read from a Bible? And if he did, was there any fireworks? Was anybody like really unhappy about that? Did anybody appreciate the contradiction? Or probably the funny part is that everybody appreciated the contradiction. When the guy held the Bible one time before, it was upside down. So, and which kind of accounts for his worldview, doesn't it? It is backwards and it is upside down, and we need all hands on deck to correct it. Uh, but yeah, I mean, the guy's just, every day you think the incompetence can't get any worse than it does. So we all know what to do. We all know what's got to be done. I'll try to, quit preaching about that, but it is going to take all of us. So moving right along on, you guys know I kind of like to bring out the some of the headlines that I see in the New York Times as opposed or compared to the Financial Times that comes out of London and is a very, very good newspaper. God, they're great. They're really short. They're really concise. It's well written. I mean, I hate to say this was probably worth the money. So anyway, for all you Financial Times types, okay. So here, number one is, of course, the war in Iran. And the headline reads something like Clashing Styles and Goals, the Iran versus U.S. Donald Trump wants some eye-catching capitulation. And the Iranians are saying, we've been here for a couple thousand years. We're not in any really hurry to move or to move on with anything. It's kind of like at our pace. God only knows what the outcome is. The cost so far has just been so horrendous. I still can't get beyond the girls' school that we bombed early into it, and I really can't get over the audacity of the. I think AI. I've got a new use for that. I think instead of artificial intelligence, excuse me, like you have to brand things, images you get AI to do. I think we need to somehow modify Donald Trump's title to be Donald Trump AI, and the AI would be absent intelligence. Everybody like that out there? And if you like that, give us a call at 949-629-3820 and let us know what's going on with you in the world. Have you gone out and tried to take family to eat? Well, a little more expensive than usual. Geez, you can't call it unexpected, can you? Every reputable economist said that it was a plan for disaster, and apparently the Republicans and MAGA guys go, "Oops, we like that," and I'm like, and the rest of the world is like, "You're insane," and when you're insane, it's hard to self-diagnose. So that's that's my diagnosis. Looking back on just some of the stuff I've seen, and let's before we go much further, let's smooth out the throat here. How about Kevin Warsh, the new Fed nominee, declined to answer whether Donald Trump lost the election in 2024. Now, this guy's being nominated for the chairman of the Federal Reserve, the bank. I said they only have two things to do. They have to try to keep inflation around 2%, and they have to maintain full employment. The one tool they have is really a crude tool that takes a really skillful hand to, it just takes, these things are just incredibly dangerous. So anyway, Warsh is on the, before the Senate Banking Committee, I guess it was, and Elizabeth Warren asked him who won. and he kind of dances around. Oh well, Joe Biden got sworn in. He wouldn't say the words. Trump lost, Biden won, and that of course begs the question: why didn't he say? And you could suppose that he honestly didn't know, which is kind of ludicrous. The more likely reason is that he knew, but he also wanted about to say it. And now, so that question is, well, why wouldn't he say it? Well, the obvious answer to me is he perceived the truthful answer as being harmful to his appointment to the Federal Reserve. Now, I'm sure he's going to pass a party line vote, but at some point when the pendulum does swing back, I said we could not have another Republican president for 50 years after this. Assuming no undetected cheating goes on, and cheating. While we're kind of on the subject of cheating, and I look out and I see sailboats racing, and you don't, no matter what the sport, cheating is just bad. It's wrong. It's immoral. Okay, it's taking by deception that which is not yours. Okay, and if I would of course rather people not do that, but the worst thing about that is what it speaks about the cheater. I mean, once you kind of cheat, it's really hard to come back, and you'll be scrutinized up and down in every move you make. So why not just do things cleanly and not worry about being caught in a lie? And the answer is, and this is relative to Donald Trump, absent intelligence. Or maybe we could do something like Latin, maybe like was the absentia intelligentsia, or is that kind of a mangled Spanish thing? Anyway, you have a president who is absent intelligence. But he has the instincts to lie, cheat, and steal. And his behavior just confirms it. I won't go back to the golf course example, but, I don't think there's, the track record speaks for itself, guys. As if the big lie, January 6th, wasn't enough for everybody. How you let him come back from that, I'll never know. To my recollection, and I watched all the committee hearings and looked at all the evidence. The evidence supports the conclusion, right? The evidence supports the conclusion that Donald Trump led an insurrection. Now we come to the question of whether you believe the evidence. And that tends to come down to, and I'll give you the range of things, and we'll go from there. Usually when you talk about those kind of things, the range of things is completely analytical with your head or completely emotional with your heart. And to appeal, so you have to craft an argument designed to either or both, right? So let's say I have crafted a perfect argument that the earth is round. I can show you pictures from outer space. I can show you pictures where people, circumnavigate the globe. I can give you, matter of fact, I can give you so much evidence that it's the kind of thing that's beyond dispute. The sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and all that. And those kind of facts don't need to be proven illegally. They're so common that the courts take what they call judicial notice of it and accept it to be true. And so the guys in court don't have to argue about it and waste the judge's time, because they get a little testy when you waste their time. They're not, sometimes you're really in a good mood, but usually not. So anyway, so we're back to thinking with your heart and thinking with your head. And we've all seen examples. We all know people who go either way and all points in between. And
I would submit that over the course of time, it's proven to be of sound mental health to be as analytical as possible when appropriate. In other words, if you're on a jury, you let's analyze the evidence in front of us. Did the prosecution prove that the guy pulled the trigger or not? Or did the defense raise a little doubt about, it was so dark out, nobody knew who did what. So you can't punish my guy. So you go back. I've never been. I always get thrown off the jury. I went to law school and all that, but so you get these people in the jury room, and then this stuff gets heated. Well, I just don't think. Oh, well, let's go back to the Earth thing. Sorry about that. So I can prove a gajillion ways that the Earth is round. The courts will take judicial notice of the fact the Earth is round, and I'm presenting that kind of evidence. And there's one guy that says, I believe the Earth is flat. I don't care about your evidence. I believe. Okay. And at that point, he's making an argument on faith and not on evidence. And I kind of define faith as that which you believe in, all evidence to the contrary. Like there's no real rational reason for you to believe this, but, for whatever reason, you believe it. So anyway, that's and my larger point is that I think that as the sporadic violence erupts all over, whether it's 8 kids in Louisiana or 2 kids in Washington State, or 2 people anywhere, 1 person is too many. We just have to. We have to. It'd be. And anyway, what I mean to say is, don't get caught up in the heat of whatever moment it is and make an emotional decision. And how about I've never had this happen, but what if you ask somebody to marry you on the spur of the moment, and what are they thinking, right? So at that point, do emotions take over? I'm sure they creep into the equation in some way. But always be aware that there's 2 basic ways to make decisions, with your heart or with your head, and I'll let you decide which one works better for you and which one has proven to work better over time. So anyway, the decision, and within that, I was thinking that I have no idea how to do this, but you can't start making good decisions soon enough. And I'm not really sure what the current thinking is on childhood development and childhood psychology, developmental psychology, whatever they call it these days. But you're never too young to learn to start making good decisions. So I just kind of offer that in passing. And one of the many good decisions you can make would be to give us a call at 949-629-3820 and let us know what's on your mind. Or what are you experiencing these days? We are democracyradionetwork.com, and we are a home for liberals, Democrats, and progressive thinkers. We want to move forward. Let me say that again. We want to move forward, kind of like make progress, as opposed to regress and going backwards. And again, I want to hear from you guys. Are we going forwards or are we going backwards? Tell me. I want to know. Abby Kaufman is dying to hear whether you think we're actually progressing in any way. I would be a little hard pressed to see it, particularly now that my $100 fill-up is now $125 fill-up. And I said the bottom line is we're still lucky we can get gasoline and oil to some degree. So anyway, let's get off the old soapbox for a few minutes, and let's see what else. The senators asked one, they were trying to see if Kevin Walsh was going to be a puppet. Well, if he's not now, he certainly will be. And then we move along to the deal in El Paso. You remember when they shut down that airspace completely in, I think it was February maybe? And that was the first time that airspace like that has been closed since 9/11. And El Paso people weren't told a word other than. And as things leak out, it was had to do with drones and maybe even a little clandestine early warfare reconnaissance with Mexico. You never know. And I want to revisit that U.S. Mexico borderland kind of connection a little bit. Um, so as the world just keeps getting worse as the puppet. El Paso. So yeah. Um, I'm sure somebody knows, but the funny thing is, it could just, as a matter of fact, it's probably more likely to have to do with the incompetence of the administrator than an actual event taking place. I would be more likely to believe somebody somewhere made a mistake with the drone than I would believe, anything else. So moving right along. El Paso. Oh, how about this? And I keep telling you, at least we can buy gas. We have it. It might be a little expensive, but we can get it. What if you're over in Asia? What if you needed fuel wherever? Could you get it? And on those kind of tankers, you need a lot of it. So, if it's tough in Asia, it's only a matter of time before it gets tough all over. There's, not only do I say we're in a period of moral and ethical free fall, we could be at the precipice of a severe economic free fall. Let's hope to God I'm wrong. But the truth of the matter is, the economy and the various sectors were sometimes so tenuous that you felt like what's that thing, Jenga, where the piece of wood is stacked irregularly and you pull out one until the whole thing falls. It's kind of a simplistic way to look at it, but what if? What if somebody pulls the wrong plug? And what if China and Japan start dumping our bonds, and nobody buys the bonds? Do you have any idea what the interest rate would have to be to attract a buyer? Yeah, we're barely making a dent now, and and we're gonna look on Biden as really being the last of the gentlemanly ways of Washington and the best paternal instincts you've ever seen. I firmly believe Joe Biden was a good man. Is a good man. I don't believe he lies, cheats, or steals. I do believe he practices Catholicism as to the degree he can. We all have to go to another church or synagogue or whatever it is. But Joe Biden remained a faithful Catholic, and I would really like for him to be around now. I'd really like to hear Biden debate the. Well, I tell you what, I'd really like to see. I'd really like to see the Pope debate Trump on morality, because nobody knows more about morality than he who is absent intelligence. Yeah, I kind of like that. He who is absent intelligence. Of course, it's always much better to give that name out than to get it, but that's a tale for another day. Okay, so oil in Asia, and and the reason why is the Asia Pacific region relies more heavily on Middle Eastern oil imports than any place else. So, and just a little New York Times tidbit. Let's see, and we get back to the war in the Middle East. And of course, being the New York Times, over they have maps where they kind of superimpose images, and to get an idea of how big the area we're talking about fighting on, I think it's like maybe 4 million square miles, and And like I said, the uranium's been there for a while. They're not really anxious to make a whole lot of progress, if you had noticed. So what does he who is without intelligence do? Well, the first thing he does is assert that he knows more than anybody else. So he probably, would continue to keep firing the military people until there's nobody. Oh, he would fire the military people until it's time for he and Pistol Pete, Pretty Boy Kegseth, sorry, Pretty Boy Kegseth to join Cash Patel and have a little drinky winky at the Gentleman's Club. They still call them Gentleman's Club, the Gentleman's Club. Those guys are running the country. And the Pretty Boy Pistol Pete Kegseth, has invoked Jesus's name for, and they're called a war, that any war that the U.S. fights, a holy war. Now, the ignorance of this step is breathtaking, as are the implications of making that statement. And number one, you pretty much know that it's just not going to go well going into it. If I was a betting person, I would bet that Pope Leo the whatever probably has a bit more theological training than Pistol Pete, Pretty Boy Kegseth. And they see I'm kind of a simple guy. If somebody has more intelligence than me or knows more than me about a topic, I'm like the first one to sit back and listen. Why? Because I don't know. I challenge you to find that going on to any degree these days. And I have heard in roundabout ways that the Capitol Hill really knows what's going on. They're just they're just too afraid. The Hill knows. I mean, these guys see who is without intelligence. And what's worse is, in between the times you see them are the insane posts. Does he still call them truths on Truth Social? I mean, how propaganda-like is that? And, I assume they have a real propaganda specialist, because to lie to this degree in and out every day is just insane. JD's on his way to Pakistan. Oops, no, he's not. JD's on his way to Pakistan. Oops, he's staying home. No, he's not. And what amazes me, despite all this, is the relative stability of the financial markets. I mean, even though we've, kind of gone in and out of that 10% correction lately, there's some, really major hedge funds that have shorted the averages. And when the people start piling onto the short positions, oh God Almighty! If I had a sailboat, I would cast off and you'd never see me again. But that's not the case. And here at DemocracyRadioNetwork.com, we want to bring politics to you, but we want to bring it to you in a way that you can relate to. We want to concentrate on local government, your council, your representative. At that level, they really are your representatives. And I think that people who step up and run for city council, and particularly, I had an opportunity to chat with a couple of people running for city council in Costa Mesa, and two of whom I think are exceptional are Dr. Kelly Brown from District 3 and Kara Stewart from District 5. I think I got that right. If not, it's reversed. But you have bright, hardworking people who care. And I think that's the perfect recipe for a representative in a democracy. Now, there's two basic viewpoints in the democracy, and it's always been, do we do exactly what the voters do, or do we do what we think is in the voters' best interest? You can see the conundrum and how it's resolved on a case by case basis. Because as human as we are, we're still a little inconsistent sometimes. So we try not to use the Elon Musk chainsaw approach. I think Americans these days are so aware of the delicate nature of almost everything that we would be the first ones to try and delicately fillet something as opposed to taking a chainsaw to it. Uh, the crudeness and the simplistic thoughts and the simplistic solutions are that they pitch have they have never worked. There's never been a trickle down. The only thing that trickled down wasn't dollars from the economy. It wasn't a waterfall. And somebody might have told you that it was raining when it was happening, if you know what I mean. And I kind of think you do. Uh, mm, mm, mm. So, but anyway, your local council to get involved on that sort of a grassroots level, and it looks to me as though the Democrats consistently have an overabundance of riches or talent in this generation of candidates. It is clearly time to give the younger people the reins. I'm sure people are well vital into their 70s and 80s, but sometimes the original term limits, which was voting, worked to get somebody out. And now they've tried to have term limits to combat the overwhelming fact that usually whoever has the most money wins the election. And in that regard, we have to, we got to fight fire with fire, even if it's $5 a week or $5 a month. It's imperative that we join our local Democratic club. If we can't join, I'm sure they'd love to have you in a meeting. Volunteer in some way, put a sign in your yard. This is, get invested in this, because you can see how decisions in DC affect local interests. Closing the rural hospitals. How fair is that? It might not account for very much on the budget, and that's why you might choose to let it go. But when you do that, you've impacted the community. And, community can only do so much these days. So it's really crucial to have your people in charge, or our people in charge. And I'd like to just kind of start by urging people to vote for Kelly Brown and Kara Stewart in Costa Mesa. Taryn, I forgot her name, in Huntington Beach was looking good. We're going to start reaching out to more and more Democrats and invite them on to to chat a bit about who they are, how they got where they are, and why they're doing what they're doing. I think that if you meet your local candidates on a personal level like that, then you'll be able to understand how and why the United States government was designed as it was. Just don't forget, I don't think there was a democracy before us. You could argue Greece, but God only knows. But yeah, imagine that. Imagine having lived at a time when it was novel to think that you had some sort of innate right as a human being to choose your leader. And of course, way back when, it'd be a show of hands, or whoever's got the most beads or trinkets, whatever it was. But we do it by voting. We run clean elections. That's why it's called the big lie. You can never, ever, how you get beyond that, I just don't know. How you lie to 340 million people. No, it's not just lying. It's just making something up. And I think you know, making something up kind of reminds me of, what what a cow tends to leave behind, or a bull tends to leave behind. That might be a little better to make the proper analogy. What the bull leaves behind. What the bull leaves behind is kind of what we have, which is the problem we're in, and the light out of the tunnel is politics and voting. I mean, it's the only way. You can go ahead and pray for that. Well, I don't kind of unsure when prayer actually like won an election or helped anything. I mean, you can do it. It's just not likely to help. And the most likely way to help is to get active and even if it's just getting out in a simple act of voting, pull that lever. Let's go big blue all the way. Let's roll those Republicans in 2026 and 2028 and beyond that. I say my thought is that things are headed in such a direction that we may not see another Republican president for 50 years, short of lying, cheating, or stealing. And we all know who is not above that. So anyway, that's a little one-side tirade, but it, besides just, can you take an evening, go to a city council meeting and take your child with you if you can? I mean, even a stroller, expose them to this. Let them see that they're not just, pawns necessarily. Let them know that as, an individual, a citizen, that you have the right to vote. Okay? I mean, you don't have to exercise that right, but God, we sure wish you would. Pull Big Blue. Let us know what's going on in your precinct, town, colony, whatever you live in. 949-629-3820. And let us know what's going on with you. Have you ever been to a movie lately? Have those things gotten expensive? But I still am dying to know, did anybody watch? Oh, you know what? Maybe we'll just kind of ask Siri. Let's see what happens here. Hey, Siri, how many people watched Donald Trump read the Bible last night?
Okay, I found this on
Okay, here it is. He is one of 500 people reading a passage from the Bible. Now I don't know ratings or anything. I just, I measure things by whether I think it's a boatload of people or not. And I don't know if that might be my undisclosed location, but Siri is not answering me. She's referring me to Google for some strange reason. And we don't really know what that is. So we'll check in later. But I can't seem to shake that image of, Trump as Jesus. What do you say? Thank you. Has he ever said thank you? If he has, I'm sure it's just kind of like formality. He didn't really mean it. Or he might have been thanking you for your money that you gave him. That's a distinct possibility. He might thank you for enrolling in Trump University. He might thank you for loving those Trump steaks. He might just love you for loving those rip-off Gibson Les Paul Trump guitars. What else? Oh, isn't there a watch or something in there? Oh, and how could I forget the actual Bible itself for the low, low price of $60? You can get a Donald Trump Bible, and just to make sure you get a good deal, Trump will throw in a copy of the Constitution too. I mean, how do people put up with the sleaze? And the answer is they probably are making money also. But again, don't get bummed about this. Now that you have knowledge, you can go do something about it. If you suspected it, you now have confirmation. You know who the good guys are in this deal. and they're not the ones wearing red. They're the guys with the blue hats, Democrats of mind for the people. And like I said, this is your somewhat savvy, politically minded host, Abby Kaufman, coming to you live and in color from Newport Beach, California. And it's Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026, kind of like hump day. But I'm just curious to hear, what's going on your Wednesday? Any musicians out there? Anybody get a nice guitar or anything? We shouldn't talk about that. That's not very political. Other than to mention that we do have quite a few parody songs that tend to make fun of he who is without intelligence. And I'll give you the URLs and all that later. But one of them was a parody of Jane's Addiction. Instead of Jane Says, this is Trump Says, Trump Lies. And there's a parody of Elvis Costello. Donald Trump means less than zero. And there's a few more tucked in there. And we'll wheel this out incrementally. We don't want to overwhelm the audience so quickly in our first hour like this. Okay. So yet another headline. How about let's see. Let's talk about Israel for a second. And Tom Friedman wrote an editorial today about how Israel is running out of friends. And the truth of the matter is that Israel Jews have always run out of friends. That's why, they've always been such a tiny minority in history. Originally persecuted because some Roman guy blamed the Jews for killing Christ, whereas it was the Romans that killed him. See, when somebody tells me Jesus died on the cross for my sins, I'm like, I kind of don't think so. I think he kind of died because he pissed off some old Roman guy. So, let's take unproven history with a grain of salt, because as much as I admire holy books and all that, it's really nice to be able to talk to the guy that wrote it, or in this case maybe the guy that dictated it. That's a pretty big deal to have done way back then. And what was that done like? I don't know, maybe around that thing they used to call BC, before Christ, and and then the other side was designating the year of Christ's birth was originally the Latin Anno Domini, year of our Lord or something. And, let's, I just wish we could kind of stray away from that and just kind of some general agreement that, yes, the earth is round, and yes, Trump lies. Let's, kind of bring things down to basics. However, in California, we have 67, I think, electoral districts, and the primary guide just came out yesterday, and I haven't had a real chance to look at it. We'll bring it up for discussion tomorrow. But there are positions that people, I'm sure, give no thought to, like the head of the Board of Equalization, or maybe something to do with weights and measures. And, while we may not know exactly what they do, believe me, they are critical to the functioning of our society. And, we need people who have proven themselves. And again, how do you prove yourself? Usually it's by your past actions. And, you prove yourself that you're worthy of their vote, that you will represent them, and that you will, and just basically that you care. You care enough to run for office, to ask people for their vote, to ask people for money to help support the campaign. And I think that, at least on the Democratic side, the more people that do that, that just further illustrates our wealth. And if we need to consolidate around a candidate, we will. You guys all know about the Swalwell deal out here. And I was one of the ones that was all will be well when you elect Eric Swalwell. I mean, I was all in on that, and and in my and the evidence that I drew on was the fact that he got the endorsement of Senator Schiff. And you guys can like him or not. I like the guy and I respect the guy. He's Stanford, another bright, hardworking guy that gets it. Or and I just say guy generically. It could be woman. I don't care. It could be something in between. I don't care. I don't care what people do behind closed doors. Okay, just have fun. Just closed doors is just kind of preferred. And you know what else is preferred? Call-ins are preferred. So give us a call in at 949-629-3820 and let us know what's shaking in your day. Are you local in Newport, Costa Mesa, Laguna? Or are you, at Ale? Oh, and are you listening in the car? Do you have your Bluetooth phone enabled to catch me on democracyradionetwork.com? I am your somewhat, or I guess I would be semi-savvy, politically minded host, Abby Kaufman, coming at you live and in color. And like I said, it's a Wednesday, April 22nd out here. And I said, we want to hear from you. Are you in the South? What do you think about Sean Harris? Huh? How did he lose? I have a feeling, having been brought up in the South, that's just another one of those old Southern racial things that ain't changing. Down there are certain people that will never vote for a minority candidate. They just won't do it. Whoever is for the minority candidate is their friend. They want the opposite. So they will never vote for the black guy is, pretty much what I'm saying. And, it's clearly reversing the trend. At a certain point, it really is how about this? The best evidence is that skin color is the result of skin cells having pigment. Okay, I mean the molecular makeup is the exact same. And it's just if you have any thought of being a Judeo-Christian nation, then I'm not really good at this stuff. But what happened to that old love thy brother thing? Or do unto others? Or, what happened to any of that stuff? And I think those were like made into slogans and Trump cashed in on them somehow. But, I'm kind of joking there, but I'm kind of not. So let's, is there anything else interesting in the world? Then this is part of the Israel losing friends. Israel settlers in the West Bank attacked a school and killed 2. Now, these guys, not all settlers, but there's a segment of Israeli society that's just, diehard, right, conservative. They are here, because God will promise them the land, and by golly, they're just going to take it, no matter who's there. And, when you have people that don't conform their behavior to the rules of society, generally you got a failed society. And, the settlers will never voluntarily coexist with Palestinians. And, let's face it, Palestinians have been abused so much over the years that, that sometimes they're not happy about making a deal. Now, I do want to mention something that I think is just abhorrent, and I do think that the countries that do this just cause their own damage. But it's when they hide military weapons in civilian areas, like the rocket launcher in the laundry room, or the rocket launcher near the satellite antennas. Or how about the newly popular, the newly and gaining in popularity drone attacks? I mean, I don't think you have to be very bright to, send a drone out and kill somebody these days. As who knows, it's probably like, Saturday night in Tehran, but again, what do I know? So yeah, these settler guys, yeah, and is that any different than Pretty Boy Pete Kegseth with the Holy War? I mean, everybody does things in the name of, like God and, I see, if you look at it, just up and down, there's just ain't no evidence to support the conclusion that there is. You can believe what you want. It's just, it's just, kind of there. So sorry, we are. Janice just came in to say hello for a second. And, but yeah, those are, you can't keep hiding weapons. Now, I know the flip side of that is when in the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, Charleston had its own guerrilla fighter, the Swamp Fox, Francis Marion, who would ride in and guess what? Attack at night. And at that time, the rules of engagement weren't really like that. Back then, the rules of engagement were something like you line up your guys on one side and I line up my guys on the other, and we'll see who's left standing. And you got to admit that is a little barbaric, isn't it? Kind of like when the old warships would run the line and they would just sail up and down, reciprocal courses, just trying to shoot each other and see whose boats were floating at the end. And then, of course, we'll be after a little gruesome hand-to-hand combat with, people's guts spilling out on the deck and, horrific scenes that you cannot imagine. Probably not unlike a Turkish prison. And while we're talking about Turkey, how about Erdogan? I mean, the Eastern European countries have this autocratic leaning, and he's just going to perfect it. If any of these guys ever leave office, you can be sure one thing: they're going to be pretty damn wealthy and pretty much set for life. So, they believe me, they don't owe you anything. I mean, you don't owe them anything; they owe you. And that's what politicians fail to realize, is they ultimately owe their voters. It's easy to afford to confuse them with your donors, those who donate money. And again, there's a campaign's got to be funded. Candidates got to have a chance. So let's make a donation when we can. $5 here, $10 there. Your favorite Democratic candidate for whatever office. I was thinking, I don't really care if they're, I don't care how much you give, how little you give. If you stuff one envelope or if you stuff 100, just please step out and be a little active. Join your local Democratic club. Meet your council candidates and take your kids. This is really good. And I want to talk about Kelly Brown for a second. And her family, there are some families that are pillars of society such that subsequent generations just build on that. And not unlike the Doomsday Book in England in 832. If your family was around in 832 and is still around today, you have supported institutions of family and society itself. So, be proud of that. Yeah, okay. But anyway, Kelly's original line, or traces her line of her family's line of service back to the Civil War, which I know a little something about. And I don't. I haven't ribbed her because I'm sure she was on the Union side. Uh, but again, her family was willing to put a life on the line for this country. And I think that when you give your life in any endeavor, that's the ultimate unselfish, heroic act. Uh, so for, 175 years or so, every member, or at least one member of every generation of her family has served. She achieves genuine happiness and fulfillment at representing people and helping when she can. She's as opposed to absent intelligence, she's also got AI, but her AI would be an abundance of intelligence. And at this point, our life journeys have taken us in different directions, and she has interacted and succeeded on every level. Everything from large budgets to minute details. She can do it all. Okay, I mean you don't see number one, it's rare to see people with that sort of background, and then it's rare to see that kind of person with background and drive. And then you see a person that has that background and drive and is motivated and is charitable. It goes on and on and on. So, she's, she's the one. She's the one to, not only does she have a vision for Costa Mesa, but she's got an appreciation for, I guess, what I could only call the Costa Mesa vibe. And we all know the Costa Mesa vibe is a, kind of hip and up and coming thing as opposed to the little, I don't want to say stagnation, but compared to some of the local towns that have older populations, so we say. Whether they're retired or not, it's a different question. But anyways, Newport does have its share of older people. And, again, more power to you. Just, please, please leave it better than you found it. And that's, I think that's why every potential Democrat runs for office, is to leave it better than they found it. And, I'll quit, I'll get off the Kelly Brown, Kara Stewart soapbox. But if you're in Costa Mesa and a registered voter, vote for those two, or whoever the Democratic leaning candidate is in your district. And if you want to talk about what's going on in your district, give us a call at 949-629-3820 and let us know what you think. If anything, you may be, if you got space out, not have much on your mind. But I said the primary election, I guess, bulletin or pamphlet came out yesterday, and it was a little, it wasn't too terribly thick, but it made me think about the lesser known candidate or lesser known offices of the state. But it's the way things have developed until now. Things were held together pretty well. They ran pretty efficiently. I think, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I would need a government office of some sort, I would always get right through. They couldn't be any nicer. I mean, the it's just another example of he who is absent intelligence doesn't appreciate because he never interacted on that level. I don't know. I mean, if we were in California, would Donald Trump have ever smogged his own car? Yeah, I don't. I kind of doubt it. I mean, and I only mention that because it's old Abby starting to get for the old this wasn't the star smog. Apparently, my 20 years is old enough. Apparently, I go wait till my car gets to be like 25 years before I get a smog exemption. Uh, but out here in California, you most of us that are Democratic leaning don't mind the fees. We know that things have things have to have a certain cost or price. And all we ask is that it's a reasonable price, whether it's a business license or a traffic fine or whatever it is. Just don't throw the whole weight of the government at me for it. Just don't do that. Now, somehow that's another lesson that got misconstrued by he who is absent intelligence. I kind of he who is absent intelligence. Now, click and clack would call it unencumbered by the thought process, but take your choice. The result is exactly the same in ignoramus as president. And I'll kind of, I don't know if I want to repeat that or not. That leaves us with an ignoramus as president. And, like I said, the wild thing to me is everybody knows, but they still do it. It's like, everybody knows the guy's, losing his toupee, but you don't say anything. And, do you know what I would do if his toupee suddenly got blown off in the breeze? Yeah, that's right. And after I applauded wildly, well, you know what else I would do? That's entirely right. I would laugh. And you shouldn't pick on someone for their physical characteristics, but when they're self-imposed, I think all bets are off. And just out of curiosity, does anybody else think that Donald Trump left unhinged behind a long time ago? I think he not only did he leave unhinged behind a long time ago, but I think he's been full-blown bat poop crazy for at least 2 years. And you've always known, in that kind of a person, you've always known there's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. There's that which you saw when the lights, lights, camera, action, showtime, whatever it is, lights, camera, action. We all know the guy that comes alive in the spotlight, and then goes back to being a worthless piece of human excrement when he walks off the stage or off the set. And I will leave you to submit where he who's without intelligence falls on that scale. I swear, it's funny and I'm gonna tell you something. And this I know what sort of, or I have a general understanding of what sort of briefing the president goes through in the daily briefing, and I have a pretty good idea what Senate staffers prepare, whether it's the legislative aide, the admin aide, whoever it is. These senators and representatives really do depend on their staff to a high degree, and the competition is really tough with good staff. Except, what was that? The demand for staff is always good, but sometimes if you don't have a brain, you can't guarantee the slot. Like I can only imagine Mike Lee in Utah, that his staff may not believe everything he does, but they clearly don't want to rock the boat either. Way back when you could afford to take a stand on principle because, it didn't take that much money to survive. Now, how many people would walk away for a job over, on principle? Well, the answer is probably as you go up the financial chain, probably more at the top and probably fewer at the bottom. Just kind of speculating. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea, it is 1 o'clock here at the DemocracyRadioNetwork.com here in our secret, undisclosed location on Newport Harbor in Newport Beach, California. And we invite you to give us a call, 949-629-3820. And I said, let us know what's going on in your district, in your precinct. Is your family, how'd your family vote before? Are they new to the Democratic Party? Clearly, the Democrats welcome everybody, short of being trolled. And, of course, that's a thing I had that's always in the back of my mind is giving airtime to somebody that kind of is trolling me. So we're trying to exercise a little discretion with who we have on and keep it to Democrats that we have some sort of relationship with and that we know to be honest and a great candidate. So, and I tell you what, let's would you guys, how about if we took a few minutes here and listen to a little, let's play us out with a little squeeze. Cool for cats. All right, that's we'll pick that up in a little bit. It's a little bit of a Squeeze from their second album, Cool for Cats. And if you have ever listened to Squeeze, preferably version 1.0 with Jules Holland, you know they are too cool for cats. Okay, so where were we? Of course, we were advocating for our local Democratic representatives. And up and down, I was going to say up and down the coast, but up and down the coast, inland, to the Mexican-Nevada border. We want to hear from all of you. And matter of fact, I anticipate in a few months having a broadcast originate from different regions of California. Let's see, there'll be the Redwoods, the Central Coast, Bay Area. When I say Central Coast, it's like everything south of the Bay Area, Silicon Valley, and all that. LA, Orange County, San Diego, the Central Valley of Fresno. And I said the Central Valley is, we need to hear from you guys. We, if we don't live in the Central Valley, we don't really understand. We don't necessarily understand the IE. So it's really crucial that we develop teammates, I guess, that will be competent to hold down the fort for 2 to 4 hours. They need to be competent to chat about calling in at DemocracyRadioNetwork.com, 949-629-3820. They may even say that so much they would, anyway. So yeah, and what this, imagine this. Imagine a college radio host and he wants to go into media somehow, and he's graduating and applying for jobs, and God only knows what's out there. But let's assume there was a startup network that said, we want to help you turn into that polished diamond from the diamond in the rough that we see now. And what we're willing to do is, how about if we gave you a 2-hour show every day to hone your skills, kind of build a resume, build a name, maybe even build a following, with an eye on, taking you to the next step with a major network. I think that sounds really nice. I think that I cannot imagine if a late teen, early 20s college student were to have available a two solid hours of streaming broadcast time available. I bet you. Oh, and the only qualifications would be that for their 2-hour shows, the first hour has to be about politics, and the second hour, local politics, especially hyper local politics, if you get my drift. With the second hour being dedicated to call-ins. And imagine what sort of skills they will be able to build and polish as they do this. We're hoping that UCI in particular is willing to work with us in some way. I really think that'd be the wildest thing to do. Just give kids their own, not their own channel, but their own show on my channel, on my network. I can't wait to hear some of the names we might come up with. I don't know. How about it's a little tough to think of those things right now, so we'll leave them and come back to them. And let's see if we can grab another headline for you. How about this? The picture of the Jewish soldier smashing the statue of Jesus. I mean, please tell me what we gained by that. I think that would be like a new military rule. If we can't gain by something, don't do it. I always thought it was like that way. And then Trump came along, and the Iran war came along, and the only reason required was because I said so. And we all know what we'd like to do to people who say, because I said so. So let's turn out in 2026 and 2028 and beyond and roll those Republicans, send them packing, you know what? Those are the guys that ought to take a little time out in Sudan or Cameroon or something. So, trying really hard to push everybody else there. Or all the people that they don't want to send back where they came from, they're going to punish them and send them to, Cameroon or Sudan. And you would have to believe that the cruelty is the point. Why did they do this? Because they can. Because they have, what do those rappers say? Because they have the power. Yeah, I think that's kind of a good inflection. The power. So we are coming at you live in color 1:10 p.m. on Wednesday, April 22nd. And of course, the Wednesday debate is actually, this is funny. The most difficult decision California has to make is usually on Tuesdays. And it's usually where we're going for Taco Tuesday. I was a little rushed yesterday and kind of forgot about it. And what did I do? Oh, I know. I wound up at my favorite Del Taco with a bean and cheese burrito with the red sauce. I am vegetarian. And I customized it with a little sour cream and the Go Bold thing, which is some kind of sauce and cheese and French fries or fries. I don't know if they I don't know if they came all the way from France, so I don't know if that would make them like not be French fries. But I'm gonna tell you, I think there's less difference between gourmet Mexican food and just street Mexican food. So, and those guys do a really good job. I like it, but it's just hard to beat. So, anyway, for all you vegetarians out there is a better alternative than a bean and cheese burrito from Taco Bell, and that alternative is a bean and cheese burrito from Del Taco, and Go Cool or whatever it is with the sour cream, and just to be, just to make sure the arteries clog and, make sure you're totally dedicated to death and dying. Let's get the cheese sauce, the cream sauce, and the fries that come with the bold package. And and you know what else? We need you to be bold and give us a call at 949-629-3820 and let us know what's going on with you. Feel free to hit that, what do the kids say? Feel free to smash that the donate button. Abby could always use a little tank of gas or a dinner of some sort. Or what Abby would really like would be an adult beverage or two, but we've had to swear off the old adult beverages. Now, I mean, I might, I'm sure under the right circumstance, I would reconsider. I mean, I truly regret I have but one liver to give my friends and family. So if you absolutely need somebody to enjoy an adult beverage with, please keep old AK in mind. Yeah, you know what I mean. And just so you know, I prefer, rum or kind of a dark buttery kind of rum, so it just kind of feels good on your throat. I mean, there's a reason Granny and the Hillbillies used to call that rheumatism medicine. Never was quite sure what rheumatism was, but everybody seemed to like the old rheumatism medicine. My usual gig before after I usually try to start the day at the gym and sit in the sauna for 20 minutes or so. If I can get more than that, that's great. If not, I just need to kind of get a good sweat and kind of loosen my back up a little bit for the day. It always helps. So anyway, I'm at the gym at 5, sauna, shower, shave, all that. So I leave around 6. I get back to my local Starbucks around 6:30. Have a cup of coffee and grab one from the road. Leave a little after 8. Head to the library where I can make my newspaper notes that I'm so good about sharing with you for a little bit, and then grab something to eat. And it's time for the old Abby Kaufman show coming to you live and in color at noontime. I say noon to 4, but the reality is that it's noon till my voice gives out, and it seems like around I can pretty well consistently make it to 3 o'clock. We'll see if today is one of those days or not. Anyway, we invite you to tune in and check us out, democracyradionetwork.com, 949-629-3820, and ring us up. Give us a chat us up, do whatever it is, whatever expression, fill in the blank there. Whatever you want it to be, it'll be. Let's see what else. I'm almost scared to look at the news for today. We're one lunatic away from annihilation. So, and it doesn't help when the one lunatic that we're one lunatic away from oblivion is also a moron. I kind of wish I could quit picking on the guy, but he he ran promising that he would sick the entire weight of the federal government on his, not the states, not the country, uh, but that he would go after these guys, that he would throw the full weight of the federal government after his, alleged enemies. I mean, he said this. And Kamala's suggesting that her to-do list was more powerful than his retribution list. Well, and that's true among the educated people. There's a reason Trump loves the uneducated. He aside from being one, or let's not impugn him. We don't want to impugn him or anybody else, so we'll just kind of stick the facts, ma'am, nothing but the facts. And I'm sure I told you about having to get my dim license plate ticket resolved yesterday. I was a couple of days late, just because I was so excited about about getting the network off the ground that I kind of missed the deadline by a few days. But luckily, I got the new license plate lights signed off by the California Highway Patrol, and the guy at the courthouse told me where to go, and I'd never been out that way before, so I just kind of asked Siri to guide me there. And sometimes she's just worthless, but the last few times have been actually okay. So, and another thing, since it is Wednesday, April 22nd, 2026, we are curious, what are you guys doing for dinner? I kind of need a dinner thought. And I'm leaning toward thinking about Pizza d'Oro spaghetti special tonight. I think it's all you can eat spaghetti night, like $8 or $9 or something. And I think after tax and tip, it's right at 12. And if you're really not if you're really cheap, but if it really matters, you can actually amortize this because you probably get enough for a second meal. It's all you can eat spaghetti with a salad and a couple pieces of garlic bread. And it's funny on those occasions when I do manage to make it past the garlic bread and salad, I'll eat probably more than I should. But I've been known to stop after the salad and garlic bread and just take the spaghetti home. Of course, it's kind of heavy, but sacrifices have to be made. And I should really give those guys a shout out too. Pizza d'Oro on Baker Street in Costa Mesa, California. Exceptionally good, decent people. Exceptionally good Italian food, old school Italian. They have specials every night, so there's always something that you can afford. They have happy hour there, I think every day, maybe like 2 to 6. And if you enjoy it, do it. Do not, under any circumstances, get a DUI on the. Those things are just devastating, and there's no real reason for it. The one beer or 2 beers, whatever it is, could cost, a boatload of money. Your car, you can be locked up if you hurt somebody. So, I'm gonna ask people to not drink and drive. It's not a necessity anymore. We have, Lyft and Uber and God knows what else. And, clearly those things aren't perfect, but I think it's the better way to avoid being stopped and or getting a DUI. Because, if you had a drink or two and, you get stopped, it's, you would have to assume that the probabilities for something bad are greater than the probabilities of something good. So you don't want to put yourself in and that's one of those life things. Don't ever put yourself behind the 8 ball unless absolutely necessary. I mean, generally, it's we all kind of need a little attention. We all kind of like stepping out every now and then, but sometimes you just it's better to blend in with the crowd. And my go-to example for that is tax returns. If you can at all do it, get it in before April 15th. Maybe even wait till April 15th. Get there when the bulk of returns go in, and see if yours just gets kind of passed through, and you have a much higher likelihood of that happening when a lot of returns come in, like April 15th. So just and I think the audit rate was like 3%, and that used to be called winning the audit lottery. And I'm sure Trump has blown that to smithereens, and disbanded so many financial fraud and criminal fraud investigating committees that about all you can do as a citizen, as a consumer, is grab that Vaseline and bend over. It's coming. A little morbid thought on Wednesday, especially when the sun looks like it's out, and it could be, I don't know, maybe close to 70 degrees. And, that's not super warm, but, it will do. I'll put up with it. Just out of curiosity, anybody familiar with Waynesville, North Carolina? My brother goes a little motorcycle riding up there, and he was telling me that he perceives that area like those kind of, to the degree you have them, small liberal arts college towns like Boone maybe, or Banner Elk. Boone is, I don't know if there's a college in Banner Elk. I think Banner Elk might just be the resort or the little town. But these, and I guess you could say, even though Clemson is kind of an offshoot, Clemson is largely responsible for country stuff like the Grateful Dead. So I'm going to take a little sip of the old. If I told you that my new mug, complete with the DemocracyRadioNetwork.com sticker, what do you think, folks? Looks pretty good. I did it myself, obviously. And if you can do better, send me a proof. We'd love to see what you have to offer. I want to talk a little bit for a second about a representative that we had after COVID, but that lost the subsequent race. And he was from Laguna Beach, and he was a fellow named Harley Rouda, Rouda. And again, a brilliant, responsive legislator whom we would give anything in the world to have back. So, Congressman Rouda, if you're listening and within the sound of my voice, please come back. We need you. And I think that if you tell most dedicated politicians that you need them, just about to a person, they will be there. I mean, I can't say everybody because nobody bats 1,000, and we are as imperfect as everybody else. So, we dwell on a little human imperfection. So, guys, doesn't it strike you as a little strange? We're going to deal with a little human imperfection when the guy in the Oval Office is claiming absolute perfection, right down to, are you ready for this? The picture of him as Jesus. And, as you can call it what you want. You can call it funny. You can call it blasphemous. You can call it the height of stupidity. And you're pretty close. But the guy's he's going to get into a fight of morality with the Pope. It's like, please God, spare me. Please don't make me, and if you do make me watch, okay, if you do make me watch this thing, make Trump go up in flames at the end, Okay, is that too much to ask for? I mean, I'll give you a little bit of my time, but that's my idea of a happy ending. So let's just say we appreciate those happy endings these days. Let's see what else is going on in the world. How about the stock market won't seem to stay down? It's almost like it's afraid of Trump too. Oh, how about this? I meant to bring this up earlier, and I kind of did. But 2 Americans killed in northern Mexico were said to be CIA agents. Why were they said to be CIA agents? Because they were coming back. Was it 2 CIA officials and 2 Mexican officials killed when their vehicle crashed on a return trip from an operation, in quotation marks, led by Mexican armed forces to dismantle some meth labs in the hills, in the mountains. You would have to bet that that headline is more likely true than not. Initially because it's a New York Times headline, but because the article came out and admitted 2 Americans and 2 Mexicans on a return trip from an all Mexican armed forces operation to eliminate some meth houses. And my grandmother had a unique perspective. I always thought she got more liberal the older she got, and her ultimate conclusion with drugs was, God damn it, give them away on the street corner. Just give it away. No crime, no nothing. You want to be productive in society, go at it. You want to, shoot or do math all day, here. You just don't hurt anybody. No guns, no knives, no, just, be a good little meth head. So, and I don't know if you could ever have a good little meth head. I'm sure people have tried to buy a good little meth head every now and then, but that's besides the point. Just thought we'd mention that. Now, what I don't have and what I need to start keeping around. My granddad always says, better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. Well, in my opinion, it's better to have too many bottles of Irish whiskey than one. I think that fits my Democracy Radio Network mug pretty well. I think we can stand maybe 2 or 3 of those little mini bottle things. And but those things are getting expensive too. It used to be like $2. I think they're at least triple that now. And while we're on the subject of those mini bottles, I gotta give a quick shout out to my old sailing buddy Squeaky James and his family. Oh, I mean, if there's a better family that ever lived, I don't know who they were. Kind, empathetic, hardworking, hard drinking, just sound people. God, I miss them. Anyway, and if I can call out Mr. James, Big Squeak himself, one of the many lessons that I learned from him, and I'm happy to pass this on because I think that if you don't know this by now, you really need to know it. And Mr. James would tell me that Mr. James would tell me what did Big Squeak tell me? I know he started out telling me, he told me that if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So when you hire someone, pay them fairly, pay them what they're worth. But the larger point Mr. James was trying to make was that negotiations begin a lot earlier than anybody thinks. Negotiations don't just start with, with a Zoom call. Usually there's some email, some introduction somewhere. At that point, you try to leverage your intro. Oh, we have this in common, and such gave me your name. So yeah, negotiations begin a lot sooner than anybody thinks, and just one of those very valuable corporate lessons that you don't get a whole lot of these days. And you know what? Today is Wednesday. It might be Newport Beach Women's Democratic Club meeting, but I don't think there's an official meeting as much as going to stuff ballots or stuff envelopes or stuff something. And since it's not official, we may just wind up skipping that. We'll see if we have any gastronomic justice and see what dinner, what kind of mood dinner puts us in. I hope we're doing a pretty good job of bringing together local politics, world politics, and we hope you find us entertaining. And if you do find us entertaining, let us know. Give us a call at 949-629-3820. Hit that donation box. Abby needs a new speaker. And what is it? Well, the kids say smash that donation box. And let's try to get a few more headlines in. Oh, how about this? The Democrats are starting to feel a little bold, you know. That they just might have a path to the Senate. Now, the only thing better than a majority in the Senate is 2/3 majority in the Senate. Then you have real power. Trust me, if you ever get the House and 2/3 of the Senate and a Democratic president, hold on to your hats because we are off to the races, ladies and gentlemen. We would be making up for lost time. We would be progressing, but I don't know if there are enough people who are secure enough to disbelieve Trump and or the Republican Party. I mean, I'm still incredulous how you believe anything, much less believe anything subjectively that the guy says. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it, guys? But like I say, coming at you live and in color from Newport Beach, California, we want to focus back in on the Costa Mesa, Newport Beach, and Laguna Beach. Local politics. And I say another one of the down ballot things that is crucial. And if you're a parent with a child or kids, please pay attention to your school board race. Undoubtedly, you will have the forces of light or the forces of dark will oppose the forces of light. The forces of those who want to ban books will be greater than the people that want to keep books, unless and until the people that want to keep the books have a permanent majority, until we have permanent Democratic majorities. And they're not impossible to deliver. I think we've got a pretty good idea how to do it, and we've got an even better idea of how not to do it. And we'd really like to, hopefully chat with like the leader of the Democratic Party in California and here, because what we'd like to do, what the plan calls for, is to expand regionally in California and have maybe 7 or 8 broadcasts from different parts of California, like maybe the Redwoods, the North Coast. Well, I guess it's called Redwoods North Coast. Then maybe coming down to San Francisco, maybe a little inland, like that whole Central Valley, and then you down to Central Coast and LA, Orange County, San Diego, and in the Inland Empire of Riverside and beyond, Riverside, Corona, and whatever else. So we have our opportunities. And in Virginia, as a matter of fact, they took Trump on head on. Virginia had its own redistricting plan, and it was passed. And I think the Democrats got like at least one extra seat out of it. So what is happening is that there's no enthusiasm for Republicans or Trump, at least not, you know, not rabid enthusiasm. Not, and the number of rabid enthusiasts probably compares favorably with the number of people that get paid to be rabid enthusiasts. So, ladies and gentlemen, at 1:35 p.m. Pacific time, and we are just blowing through this Wednesday afternoon session of Radio Democracy Network, the Abby Kaufman Show, where we invite Democrats, liberals, and progressive thinkers to call in and share your thoughts. I say ultimately, what we think does not matter. Ultimately, what you think does. And we would love to hear from you. Taxes and politics and foreign policy have never been so intertwined as they are now. And I keep coming back to this. But does anybody really think Trump can negotiate his way again with a wet noodle? Does anybody think Trump can actually outsmart anybody? Or how about anybody? He might outsmart anybody. I don't know. Doesn't 6 or so seem like about where he is on the intellectual development scale? I certainly don't think he's, top tier. Even though I say when you're absent intelligence, it's hard to know how much intelligence you're absent from. You can pretty well assume that it would be a good bet. I tell you, but again, you gotta, please guys, get involved locally. 3 things: get involved locally, give us a call at 949-629-3820. Let us know what's going on, and smash that donate button. Abby needs a new something. Oh, I know. You know what Abby needs? Abby needs a really nice electric razor. So smash that donate button and let's get Abby a razor and have him not look like such a bum on radio, huh? Or this is live streaming, so, and we're coming to you live and streaming via StreamYard on through YouTube. And how cool is that for being a little techno guy in the in 2026? I've learned that it pays to keep something fluid close by. Oh, and let's see. Would you believe? I'm sure you would, because it's me and not Donald Trump. But would you believe we just might have a new Instagram follower? And if we do, we'll give him a quick shout out here. Let's see. We see the former Mayor Foley, Supervisor Katrina Foley. Let's keep her coming back. Now, oh, you know what? Let's actually join the network here. I hate making those kind of rash decisions, but sometimes you just have to. I'm just always kind of amazed at the difference between Wi-Fi and cordless and all that. So bring it on and let's make what? More money. Yeah, those were the days when you could make jokes about that. And how about that old comic view with Mommy, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice or something? I think she was a little too much. So what are we doing besides the College Board of Trustees? I'm not really sure what we were doing because I'm just getting a little tired about this. And here's let's see. 139, almost 140. So we are coming up on 1 hour and 40 minutes of solid broadcast humor with the democracyradionetwork.com. I am your somewhat savvy, political minded host, Abby Kaufman, inviting you to call in and join us on the democracyradionetwork.com. And once again, give us a call, 949-629-3820. Email us, that would be united@democracyradionetwork.com. And share what's going on in your corner of the political universe. We do hope that your political universe is in California. It's no surprise that California is the seventh largest economy in the world. So we're big enough to stand on our own. And I would still like to know what the difference is. If it was, excuse me, okay for if it was okay for the United States to secede from England, then isn't it also okay for the Confederates to secede from the Union? And the intellectually honest answer is it's the same thing. But there's this human tendency to paint history as we need it to serve us. It doesn't necessarily have to be true anymore. I say those guys that started all this just sucked. The world has never been more unstable at a time when, a steady hand would be really nice. So let's let's move over to the old Financial Times and let's see what goes on there with those guys. Oh, how about this? A Chinese EV manufacturer claims that he can get rapid charge and 1,500 kilometers range. And if I'm not mistaken, there are two major car manufacturers in China. There's BYD, then there's these guys, CATL, and so we're just those sales could have been Teslas. I'm not an Elon Musk fan at all, but if people want to buy your product and it's a not harmful product, then go to it. But people confuse having two sides of the coin with having like two equal sides, and you really can't do that. And the truth of that is, one of those things, if you do, you're just a dumbass. I should tell a quick story. I'm in the grocery store, Sprouts, the other day getting a sandwich, and I see a guy I used to see at the gym, and he's chat for a second. How you doing? How you been? Fine, all this stuff. And then the guy says something like, I keep telling you, I'm right, that there was fraud in that 2020 election. And I'm like, pal, let me tell you something. And this is in front of everybody, and I did not do this quietly. I'm like, pal, let me tell you. If you want to believe OJ is innocent, that's fine. If you want to believe OJ is guilty, that's fine. But you can't have it both ways, right? You got to pick a side of the street and walk on it. So let's rally behind our candidates and help them to win. I'd say help them to victory and all that. But what we really want, in the crudest term possible, is we want you to win, and we're here to help you. Democracy Radio Network was founded as a pretty liberal place. Maybe give rise to some younger voices and let it carry the day. I can't, unless if a college student had just hours of paid stream time, I'm pretty sure that they might have plans. So let's be sure and tune in when we can these days. The old poet starting, so we need to kind of pay attention and weigh our words. And you know what? Let's go back to a little squeeze for a few minutes, huh? What I've had. That it's cool to be a cat. It's cool for cats. Oh, cats! Play it, Jules. A young Jules Holland on organ and cigar. Not to be confused with each other. Oops. Here we go. This one is questions I should hang on the wall. I saw a man that I take her home. I'm going in for coffee and I give the dog a bone. She always moved to distance, but she's never on her own. And sooner or later, and I'll give her some old chat. But it sounds like the only feeling when it's cool for cats, it's cool for cats. Oh, Jules, again. A young Jules Holland, keyboards and a cigar. How cool is that? For cats. And ladies and gentlemen, that was Squeeze. And we don't want to get carried away, but we'll see about picking up a little where we left off. I think that was the intro to Pulling Muscles from a Shell by Squeeze. And you gotta love Glenn Tilbrook and Christopher. Even I mean, all this time they're still together. They're still writing. Sometimes as a duo. I think Glenn's a little more apt to tour than Difford than Chris Difford, but and I'm gonna tell you something. Tilbrook is a really awesome guitar player. I can't imagine being able to play like that. I certainly can't imagine being able to play like that while singing. So I've always kind of admired those singer songwriters that didn't depend on anybody. Unfortunately, your host Abby Kaufman kind of depends on the kindness of others when he does his recording. And we've got maybe 8 or 10 Trump parodies will break out of the vault every now and then for you. Geez, can you believe it's almost 2 o'clock already? It is 1:48 as we approach the 2 o'clock hour from the Democracy Radio Network.com. This is your somewhat semi-savvy political minded host, Abby Kaufman, inviting you to join us and tune in. Watch us stream live. Go to the website, democracyradionetwork.com, and hit that old live stream, and you get us live and in color. Where? From our undisclosed location on Newport Harbor in Newport Beach, California. We wish it was a little Starbucks a little closer, but it seems like the closer one closed. Isn't that wild? Starbucks actually closed. So now we get to continue working on our early morning refill to keep the vibe going and the energy going for at least another hour. We'll try to make it to 3 o'clock and see what happens. Maybe we'll go unwind and play a little guitar. After that, we'll have to see how things shake out. It's probably, oh, you know what? There's emails to be answered and all that stuff. So, as what did my mother say? No rest for the wicked. and this is truly, even though I'm not terribly wicked, I think I think it just makes the story sound better. And if it was a mommy story, then so be it. But what I do, I always call out my baristas at Starbucks on Fashion Island, because I can't imagine how hard it is to be like upbeat every day and make things for people. Uh, there's a woman from Indonesia, Davine, who's just a very smart woman and just very good worker, just great everything. And some snobbish older woman was just giving her a hard time this morning. And I mean, Davine's always so nice. I can't imagine why anybody would do that. So if you're the woman at Starbucks Fashion Island from this morning with the yacht club cap on and the blue sweater, give us a call. We kind of like to chat, see if we can ask you to maybe bring it down 1,000. I wouldn't, believe me, it would only make things more enjoyable for everybody else. And talking about making things more enjoyable for everybody else, let's see. Oh, how about this? What was that guy's name? Le Pen in France, the far right guy. Well, he ran, I think his daughter, Marie Le Pen, or, whatever it was. And now there's the third generation who's come up with the brilliant idea of unifying all the right wing parties in Germany. Now, I don't know about you, but that kind of scares living daylights out of me. I hope you see why. A unified German command. Does that kind of sound familiar? I thought it might. So, and I tell you what we're going to do is we're going to do like that. And we'll just kind of leave it at that. And we're going to sign off for a few minutes. This is Abby Kaufman, your host of DemocracyRadioNetwork.com. And I shall read. General Douglas MacArthur kind of lied about this, but unlike General Douglas MacArthur, I shall return. Thanks, guys. Give me a few minutes.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thanks, guys. A little matter of nature calling, and you know what? That would have worked better if I did it like that. But we forgot, so we had to duck out for the call of nature, and it's a lovely day out there. So we'll and we may change the format of the show slightly. And it's funny, it will only be in a move of complete honesty. We may just start broadcasting like from 12 until my voice gives out. I had originally tried to do this from 12 to 4, and it's just physically impossible just to talk that long. Or it's physically impossible for me to talk that long. I think there's, a good many people that could do it. As a matter of fact, I know a woman at the gym that could do this nonstop for, I don't know, a day or two. But your old radio and TV host, Abby Kaufman, just is a little dry in the old throat lately, like I say, especially after 2 hours. But anyway, we got any graduates from the University of San Diego out there? I went to school there, and I swear I can't even remember if they were the Toreros. I used to think they were the Dons, but I think they would have gotten a new name if it was the Dons, especially these days and times. I mean, it is, for some reason, the only thing, or the only types of business ventures I can connect with the president are corrupt ones. It's a sad state of affairs. But let's move right along. And I see the sun's out. It's a beautiful day here in Southern California. And we hope that wherever you are, you're managing to enjoy your Wednesday. It is what people traditionally call hump day. And, whether you do any humping on Wednesday is an entirely different question. But we're clearly on the downhill slide looking forward to the weekend. And, on the weekends, I remember when drinking a Budweiser during a NASCAR race would make you a patriot. I'm not really sure what it would make you now, but it just doesn't have that same vibe to it, if you get what I mean. But yeah, and Coach, talking about vibes, there's an establishment in Costa Mesa that I also want to kind of call out, not necessarily because it's great, but because it's an institution that has given back and been part of the fiber of Costa Mesa, and that's the Lil Lil Pickle, and they are on Fairview Road, right near the intersection of Fairview and Baker. And these guys still work with local high schools. There's clippings on the walls from the 50s, and this place was there. So God knows they've seen a lot, and not unlike the guys at Pizza d'Oro, I've seen a lot, and I said they're it's funny. I think tonight's like Pizza d'Oro spaghetti night. I forgot what tomorrow night is, but Friday night is Parmesan night, whether it's eggplant or chicken. So we've got a big decision. Do we go and get a big spaghetti dinner tonight, or do we hold on until Friday night for eggplant, or do we even hang out even more for Sunday or Monday spinach lasagna? Sometimes lasagna is a little too heavy, and we try to only do those Italian things when it's not just roasting outside. Sometimes you have spaghetti in the summers too, but as a general proposition, that's kind of what qualifies as a hearty meal to me. So, and what else is going on?
I say just you can't keep the stock market down these days. And something else you can't keep down is an insane emailer. I get these emails from Isabel Muschamp, and it's always see. Let's take the subject matter for this one: incompetency and corruption. And geez, anybody got a thought in the world that might be about? Just anybody? A quick thought? Okay, well, we kind of see what's going on there. You probably don't have a thought on the matter, and you probably know exactly who we're talking about. Yeah, there's I said at a certain point you just roll over. And but you know what? We're Americans. We cannot roll over. We cannot let the corrupt win. And this is, the more I think about it, the more I am somewhat resolved. I guess we'll get back on the radio here. I am somewhat resigned to believing that this election in 2026 represents Armageddon. Or if it's not Armageddon, it's the prequel to Armageddon, with Armageddon being in 2028. I honestly believe we are coming to a showdown between the forces of light and good and the forces of darkness and evil and corruption. I would expect that everybody knows by now the good guys don't always win. It's entirely conceivable that the bad guys win. So we cannot let that happen. And we not only do we owe it to our kids, we owe it to everybody's kids. We cannot let this happen. Guys, let's see. And what else is going on in the world of politics and religion these days? Oh, I swear. I keep thinking about Trump as Jesus. And then I think about his explanation that he wasn't portrayed as Jesus. He was a doctor doing the Lord. He was a doctor doing the Lord's work, healing the sick. And we all know if there's ever anything Jesus kind of liked, it was healing the sick, right? But of course, he was not healing the sick. He was not a doctor. He had the flowing white robe. He had the red prayer shawl. He had the glowing orb in his right hand and his Bible on the left. I mean, he's getting ready to bear hug somebody with his Bible and his, his smoochy hand. God help us. So, anyway. Any regulars going to the gym these days? I used to go to the Oasis Senior Center and bike ride for 30 minutes or so and take a shower and go to work. But then it hurt my back and I was having a hard time, using the bicycle. Excuse me. So I had a plan B. You see how we can be analytical about this? I could either have gotten just kind of pissed off about the fact that, I hurt my back and couldn't exercise, or I could try to think of what to do to help it, just period. And so my plan B was to join a traditional 24-hour fitness kind of gym that has a steam and sauna. And not that I'm a steam guy, but I kind of thought dry heat might help my back and my sciatica and, whatever else is down there. And to make a long story even longer, I've been doing this now maybe 6 or 7 months. And if it hadn't helped, it's convinced me otherwise that it has helped. It's always a little awkward when you kind of sleep funny, but yeah, as a general proposition, I solved the problem. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea, it feels really good when you solve your own problems like that. So we would urge you to next time there's a little bit of a problem, instead of flying off the handle, just sit back for a second and think about it. What's really wrong here? Have I articulated the problem? And I swear it's really true. Articulating the problem is the first step to solving the problem. It's and clearly it's how you articulate it, but you got to be able to narrowly define the problem to be solved. Because if you're all over the place, you have undefined parameters, and problems won't be solved. But if everybody's pretty much on the same page, you could just have a really nice dinner and kind of be done with it, which is kind of always my hope for our listeners in Newport Beach and beyond. And while we're out there, has anybody been to Newport, Rhode Island lately? I was talking to a fellow named Peter at the individual protest. No, he was with the Indivisible group at the No Kings protest here in Newport, and he was at the southwest corner of Pacific Coast Highway and Jamboree. Dynamite guy, super volunteer. And you know what every volunteer needs? Every volunteer needs more volunteers. They need, they kind of get overwhelmed and they need help. And when we step up and give some relief somewhere, it's pretty likely to have a significant impact on people, which is all the more reason to do it. I mean, and I've said this for a long time, but if you're doing something and somebody doesn't like it, don't do it. Okay? You may take some childhood or fiendish delight in the stuff, and just don't do it. And there's a larger point in that. Years ago, I've always driven British cars, and years ago I had a Triumph TR6, and I just got out of school, and I'm in my bachelor pad in Corona Del Mar, and I have a rough month, and I try to change my own oil. I mean, how hard can that be, changing your oil, right? So to make a long story even longer, before it was done, I had like maybe 16 quarts of oil in my driveway, and I had bought every oil filter in Orange County. And this was, before, Uber and Lyft and all that. So I had to wait a few days before I could take my car in. And of course, I had it towed in for my attempted oil change. And my good old Irish British car mechanic, who's also the go-to guy for road and track, and the guy's name is Gene McClellan. Jeannie baby, never forget him. So I'm getting out of the car in the tow truck with my dog and all that, and he puts his arm around me. He says, "Where are your tools?" I said, "They're in the trunk." And Gene said, "Give them to me." And I kind of looked at him. He says, "No, give them to me." And I'd had this relationship with Gene where, I knew that whatever he told me was the gospel. And if I listened to him, I wouldn't go wrong. So, but he can tell somehow that I'm a little taken back with his "give me your tools." And so I say, he puts his arm around me, around my shoulder, and says, Ab, we're all gifted in different ways. If you don't do any of my stuff, I won't do any of yours. If you got a problem, bring it to me. And here we come to the good part. Just don't touch it. If you got a problem, bring it to me. Just don't touch it. So somehow I come to the conclusion that there's a large message in this, and that one of the things I should never do is engage in eating a pig that's kind of fraud and all that stuff. I'm not going to go into the gory details, but let's just say I do think life It's better as a vegetarian. So anyway, as I use the sauna lately, I can't help but notice that it keeps getting like hotter and hotter. And I used to be able to do like 30 minutes in there, and it would take maybe 10 to 15 minutes to build up a good sweat. So about that same length of time you would be in there just sitting. But like it's just it gets so hot that I don't last very long in there, and I always feel bad because I know I'm screwing somebody out of a street parking place. But in the traditional welcome to LA, I stole your parking place. I mean, it's not being a warm, caring, sensitive West Coaster. I thought so. And I said, guys, we may call this a wrap around 2:30, just because I'm getting a little tired. I don't know if there's a whole lot of point to go beyond 2.5 hours. And just advertise the show is from 12 until, how about that, from 12 until I can't talk anymore. 12 until 12 until what? You can see where I would have potential to be a kind of a jerk in this deal, wouldn't you? And let's see, we kind of found out that the stock market went up, not what do you say about that? And I swear it's like it's like Trump just wills the market to go higher or defies it to go lower, no matter what outrageous thing he does. And at the end of the day, I think that the Strait of Hormuz is probably no more than 6 miles or 7 miles long, but maybe whatever the beam is of that ship, maybe that beam plus 10%, because that's a pretty narrow pass. And Iran, you can't blame them for taking it over. We're in their backyard now, so we just don't give in. Don't let it happen, guys. We've come too far, and for the last 14, 16 months, we've been witnesses to Trump's retribution tour and retribution policy. And guys, he's got to go. He's just got to go. No lies, no unceremoniously taken away, none of that garbage. By the way, wouldn't it be nice to depose Trump if he had some idea as to the consequence of not doing so truthfully? I'm always kind of curious, but as for so many things in the world, nobody asked me. Oh, guys, you know what? We may kind of call this about now. We're a little, I don't know what the word is. My back's starting to hurt, and I'm getting a little cranky. And your old semi-savvy, politically minded host, Abby Kaufman, might just be inclined to see if his back can't feel better. And if you're listening, hello KCI, and Kevin, we hope to chat with you really soon. It's time, and you guys are the right ones for the job. So anyway, this is Abby Kaufman, your semi-savvy, politically minded host, and I'm starting to lose my voice, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And thank you everyone for joining me for the 2 hours and 15 minutes that we were on. And if we can do anything, give us an email or a shout, 949-878-0290. Email us at united@democracyradio.com. And we are your home for Democrats, liberals, and progressive thinkers on the net. We are also the birthplace of MASA, Make America Sane Again. So please tune in and listen and hit that donate button if at all possible. We thank you, and we look forward to doing this again. Take care, guys. And it is over. And what do you think? Is it over? And